Happy Honey Wash Day. This is Toksa Hour. I am Maggie Ross, and I am live from Porcupine, South Dakota, along the Porcupine Creek where the porcupines roam. And yay, again, we have Chas with us. She's having a little experience of technical difficulties, but hopefully we will get through the programming today. Good morning, Chas.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm Chas. I'm up for it.
Okay, I think you're freezing up again.
Spotted. Maybe I'll come back in and come
Okay, do that.
back
Maybe
out,
that'll
Maggie. Try
work.
that again. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
But
Yeah.
okay. Such is life. Technical difficulties always exist for us. So Chas will rejoin us here shortly. Let's see. I'll put her in waiting room and see what happens. Okay. So good morning, everyone. It's been a time, I guess. I apologize last week. I didn't realize, and so that's why I didn't come on. It was my Mihasani's birthday, and so we went out and celebrated with him. It was so funny because our granddaughter, she's the one that picked the day or picked the activities, and so all of the activities were around her. So this was her plan. We'll go to the mall and then we'll eat at the mall, but we'll put a blindfold on him, and then we will take him into the game place and take it off, and then we'll play games. And then she said, the arcade, and then he can go shopping wherever he wants to shop. He can shop, and his shopping then would be and then he could buy whatever he wanted because it was his birthday. And so we went shopping, and she got shoes, 2 pairs of shoes. Yeah. So that was that was his birthday plans that she coordinated for him. And that was really funny for me. Anyways, it's like, yeah, all the things there. Shoot.
I'm here. Can you hear me
Yep.
now?
Can hear you now.
Well, that is a lot. Yeah, it sounds a lot better.
Still have a little lag there.
And I don't know what the problem is, but okay. Well, we do have Wow, it keeps saying my internet connection for my
Are you unstable? Try your phone. Hook it to your phone hotspot. Anyway, she's gone again. So anyway, so I apologize. I apologize for not being live last Sunday. Kind of had a nice evening and stuff. I'm experiencing old age. My mother's problems. She'd always take her glasses off and put them down somewhere, and then spend a good deal of time looking for them. So that's me. I don't know where my glasses are, so they're somewhere. The trolls got them. So as we try to figure out what's going on with Chas, we want to go ahead and kind of move forward in some news and see what's going on. So I was waiting for Chaz because we want to have the Trump dialogue again and uh see about that. And then also, some other kind of exciting news that they always say you shouldn't say it until it's a deal. So maybe I shouldn't say anything about it until it's a deal. But yeah. Okay, there you are, Chaz.
I can hear you?
Yay, we can hear
Okay,
you, or I can hear
okay,
you.
okay, good. Well, sorry about that. I'm sure I don't know what the problem is. Who knows? We're at the radio station. It requires the internet to run, and it is running in there, but apparently Zoom does not want to work. So anyway, sorry. I hope you're doing good. It's what a weekend, huh? It was quite the weekend with the festivities at the White House. And I have avoided it all really.
I did too.
And
I didn't. Was it yesterday or is it today that he's supposed to have the big sumo wrestling stuff?
I don't know, but it's so funny that like he would do this to a sport that is like legendarily fake. I mean, the dude's like such a con artist, and it's right. Like that, they did a research in 2019 that said that the folks who follow MAGA are not, they're not big fans of Donald Trump. They're just racist, which is really sad. And but Donald Trump is like taking advantage of all of that to the core,
Hmm.
man. And honestly, the rest of everyone, it's just sort of showing everyone their true faces because of, the Democrats and Republicans supporting ICE. And I think there's supposed to be opening up a new huge ICE facility in Minnesota. Folks are just becoming aware of it and are getting ready to protest against it. And it was a prison now being opened up as an ICE prison, which is, why are they holding people? Send them home if that's the problem. Send them home right away. Why are they holding people? Why are they holding babies? Why are they holding children? The fact that it goes on all the time and everyone just continues is, exactly how, we watched what they did to the folks in Gaza and, are doing right now to Lebanon, and no one is doing anything. No one cares. It's so frustrating. They're all just like, oh, the New York Knicks. Hey, I found out the Knicks guys supported Trump, so the owner of Knicks. So I was in favor of them like when the comeback, and then I did some research and I was like, oh no. So then I was like, yeah, San Antonio, but then the Knicks ended up winning it, I guess. And so that's good for them though. Mom Donnie, he went to one of the things, and I follow him, and I also follow, because I follow all kinds of people on Facebook and on, Instagram. Well, I'm not on Instagram at all anymore, but on TikTok, just because I want to know what their lives are like, right? And so I follow that I Show Speed, that kid that's a YouTuber or a streamer or whatever, and he's just a brilliant little guy. I'm sure he's huge, but he was here in South Dakota, and he came and went all over and met some Indians. People danced with him, and anyway, he's just like a real life, good guy. And then he was sitting next to Mondami, and he didn't even know it, and so it was funny. And Mondami was like, "Oh no, this guy's a mayor too," so he was very humble, that dude. And I don't even want to talk about Trump because Mom Dami is doing such a great job in New York. You could just talk about all the good stuff happening there. And not only that, but he also got like, I don't know, 1,000 tickets for the I guess there's a soccer tournament happening here in America. And apparently men play soccer, because I thought that only women play soccer in America. They don't know, they do. And apparently the
The World
Americans won.
Cup.
But
Yep. The
yeah,
World Cup.
yeah. everyone, I know I watched the openings down in Mexico City actually, the parts of which Fox did not play the beginning of it because it was all very tribal. It was very beautiful. I follow a bunch of
Oh,
folks
and
from
their efforts to dehumanize, huh? To keep dehumanizing the Mexican people and their culture and stuff. Like, yeah.
and apparently the Koreans and the Mexicans are having this moment where they're all just like loving on each other and did you know, I did not know this, but it makes sense because Lawrence, Kansas, that's where maybe you know, maybe that we have contacts over there. But they were the host for the Algerian World Cup team. And apparently, like the community's just going, you know, gangbusters, doing a great job inviting them in and doing whatever. I think that, you know, we as Americans, we can show a good face, and then, but we always forget, you know, about the reality of, you know, most people. And I think here in the country, it's like so in our face, the poverty and, you know, which is a policy choice. It's a policy choice for, you know, the federal government. It's a policy choice for our tribal governments too. And, you know, we always just let them go because, you know, trauma, all that stuff, we all got to get along. But no, I mean, it is a policy choice. We don't have to be poor in any country. We just choose to follow leadership that isn't dedicated to changing that policy of poverty. And that's the truth, Maggie. You know, we have, you know, all of us as Lakotas have the land base. We could be you know, we could be growing our own wheat, making our own bread, doing, you know, feeding our own people. We could be living together and we could be praying together. And I think that it's hard because, you know, it's only been 150 years. Everyone's like 250 years since America. Well, only us, we've only been colonized for 150 years, right? And so my grandfather was not a citizen of this country. My grandfather, I'm sitting here right in front of you. You know, it seems like I should be, you know, pretty colonized, but no, I remember, I remember very, you know, my grandpa lived a lot of his life as not a member or a citizen of the United States. And you know, folks are so committed to this reality and the status quo, and the status quo is miserable for a lot of people. We just don't care about it. Like, or we're like so miserable already, we don't have the energy to care for it for other people. You know what I mean? And so it's like, you know, we're traumatized and we're forced to work and we're poor, and so we just take it out on each other and beat the shit out of, strain, so and so's, floozy of a wife who ran off with their husband and, whatever, created all drama. There's, all of that stuff is like a part of our daily lives, and it's so traumatic and it's so taxing, and it's very not who we are, right? And we are people who do ceremony, who live sacred ways, and it's getting to be Sundance season. And I was just I wasn't with you guys with you last week because I was in Minnesota, actually in Wisconsin for a bit up there along Lake Superior. I don't know if you remember if I've mentioned it on here, but we walked around Lake Superior, do the Navy walk. It's a ceremonial walk, and the Ojibways have been doing it. Josephine Mamadine from Thunder Bay, Yvonne, she's passed on to the spirit world. Started about 20 years ago. It's a ceremony, and but what they were doing up there was the Ojibwe ceremonies, and so I was able to see a little bit of it. What they do. That ceremony is like kind of a public ceremony that they do. Because it is public because we're moving, but it's not about the public. But it is up there was like um, their their ceremonial ways, and it was very different from our public faces as tribal people. And us as Lakotas, Sundance season, it's like everyone comes in from everywhere and then goes everywhere, and then it's like people come in and all of a sudden there's like cars from Canada and, Tennessee and, everywhere. There are people that come Tennessee. I don't know why I said Tennessee, but, and then everyone's gone. And like, and then they come back or do whatever. But like, we could, be doing those things, as a community, rather than doing it with people who come and go and we could have our own things like that. But I think it's great that we have 37 Sundances every summer. But we used to just have one at the base of Devil's Tower, if I remember correctly. It'd be really wonderful for us to do that again, but it's hard, assimilation, colonization, poverty, all those things have really made an impact, I think, on our understanding of what it means to be a Lakota. And, living our ways is hard because you can't, just take whatever. That's the way they do. You can't just steal and lie. That's the way they do. You can't just, do whatever. And everything that non-Indians have was based on, taking and stealing. And so like, it's like, sure, they got a lot of stuff and they've had stuff for generations, but are they good people then still? Because that's what it was still, if your granddaddy made your fortune off of the gold stolen from California or from the Black Hills, or, are you any better than us? No, you just came and took it, and you guys have, continued to just create this, sense of animosity here in this country, I guess. And I keep thinking about how many people we have in jail. We have so many people in jail, and we are like worse than China, as imprisoned. And like, what are we doing? Like, we're just, we're either in jail or poor or whatever. And Elon Musk is a trillionaire. So what do you think about that?
So you throw me all the way off because you say one word and then this comes. Just when I thought I got him to fall in love with Tennessee.
Tennessee. I didn't mean to say Tennessee. Mm.
I really like that song.
Yeah.
I become a fan of hers in the past like year or whatever. And then she just kills these songs. And that's one of the things about TikTok, right? Like TikTok does this whole thing about people who can't make it. They're not making it in the industry because of how the industry is bought up by APAC or Israeli asset
Zionist.
Zionists.
I think you can say Zionist because I mean it's true, and I think the music industry and the Hollywood industry, I think that's even worse than our political system if you think about it. And now, and you look in retrospect, you can, and thank God for TikTok, right? It was because I watched a girl who went back on all these Friends episodes and was like, "Oh, look at where they were openly Zionist," and it was horrible. Like it was horrible. Like now that I think about it, they craft this message to the mainstream media because they own the mainstream media, and Larry Ellison now is owning everything. And guess what? It's all lies, and so there's no, someone was talking. I just watched this TikTok about Trump saying misinformation, disinformation.
Trump is misinformation.
He is, and everything that he does is like blaming someone for something that he has done. We all can tell, we all know he has done these things and gotten away with it. And because there's a certain core group of criminal, rich people who don't care about anyone else in the world but themselves and their wealth and their status quo. And so that they've been running everything for, God knows how long now, at least the United States. I mean, United States was a colony for these people. Like they didn't come here to say, oh, let's create this free liberty place. No, they came here because there was all these resources. And guess what? Now there's like a lot of like, poison and pollution, and that's what and guess what? These guys are still making off like they're free, owning these yachts and all this crazy stuff. Like, the lies, the propaganda. I just started reading this book about, communism. They've been talking about communism and making communism be the enemy since Reagan, right? And Reagan was an actor, right? He was paid to act by these corporate, I don't know, we can call them the Epstein class because that's the most appropriate at this point, because Epstein obviously was the CIA, he was obviously the IDF, he was obviously part of that cabal of, taking money from the Rothschilds. And that's some good news though, Maggie, the New York Times covering that again. Maybe there'll be some accountability. But the New York Times is a Zionist piece of, whatever, piece of it wouldn't even use it. Yeah, anyway. I don't even and think about it too, like I don't know, like that they just, they send us to college, and now I think about college, and that's why I'm so like happy about, that we have such a thriving tribal college system, because my dad helped start our college here, and of course now we don't have it. That's a whole episode. We could go through that. I actually know that story. We could go through that if we want to. Anyway, I can defend my father, but anyway, but tribal education, it's so important because we're not in their paradigm. We're in our paradigm. And our paradigm is that we're good relatives and we want to, build a good life, and we want to just take care of each other. And that's the better paradigm. And science is agreeing with our, philosophy, with our, all the stuff. And so, eventually maybe they'll start listening to us. But the problem is I think they come to Indian country to try to learn from us, and then they end up like, finding these, people who are like internet famous or whatever, these big name Indians who everyone knows, and they're actually not that great people. They're like cult leaders, and then if you don't listen to the cult leader, then and sometimes, you get attacked, or whatever. People use people too for money, and there's just all kinds of like nefarious characters in Indian country and Lakota country, specifically. I just want to say, because we are who we are, and if we can't tell the truth, then we're nothing. And so there's a lot of us who are just trying to figure out what means even to be Lakota after being like 3 generations of boarding school people. My grandpa ran away from boarding school 3 times, but eventually he went. And so did my dad, and so did all the other people. And my dad's siblings, he was the youngest of 10 kids. And so, our perspective of being Lakota is definitely still being impacted by what happened at those boarding schools. And poverty, and that was a policy choice, right? People can't put that together. It's a policy choice. Barack Obama made a policy choice by approving the Dakota Access Pipeline, right? I mean, there's policy choices. Everyone make these things, and if you're still, oh, Obama, he's so great. Well, no, he's not. If you're Lakota and you understand that both all of these systems are just created to oppress us and to do everything it can to destroy our cultural values, right? I mean, they've had a war against communism for a reason for all this time, because, and not that our ways are communism, but I mean, Marx and Engels, I think, did get their ideas from indigenous values. So, whatever. Not that we're taking credit for communism now.
I know, it's like this whole thing, the denial of native input or indigenous, and this is what the erasure of us And then we get to, like we know that feeling that we're being erased. Our voices are muted. We feel that and we know because we're actively, experiencing it. And then through our phones, we get to watch that happen to the Palestinian people. And you think about the impact that the Palestinian people, ancient, all of that impact that they have had in Western civilization, and these what do they call Ashkenazi Jewish people from Ukraine and Poland get to come over here and then go over there and say, nope, that was us. That was our ancestors. You guys are invaders. You don't even belong here. This is our land. And then they get to theft all of who they are. And then you
Isn't that
have
crazy? Even
and
their
then you have,
hummus.
and then you even have, like, they do this, what is it called, the Israelite movement. Anyway, so there's African American people or African people in America that are stealing again us. So they're over here claiming that this is their land. They are the ones that are actually the indigenous people. This is who they are. And then they want to rely kind of like back into this whole thing of Israelite or whatever, but the time frame people doesn't work. Like, it's a nice narrative, but it doesn't work
I
because
lost you again. I lost you again.
oh, are you gone? I hear you.
Can't hear you.
Mm, I hear you. Turn up your volume. Oh, now you're muted. I don't know what's going on. Testing. Testing, 1, 2,
Can
3.
you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you. I don't know what's going on. So, can you guys hear us? Can you hear Maggie? Can you hear Chas? Can you say in the chat if you can hear Maggie or if you can hear Chas?
I can hear
Now,
you.
oh, can you hear me now? Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. We're back. That was interesting. Yeah, no, the what we're oh, you're gone again.
I hear that word. I don't even know if she'll be able to see that. Oh, there you
I
are.
can I
You
can hear
breaking
you.
up.
I
Okay.
can hear you. Okay.
Oh my God.
Well, that's, what were we talking about? They want us to change the subject. So I think that that's that's the thing about America too, right? Like I've been going down this whole rabbit hole about the creation of white people because it's such a, it's such a thing. It's like okay, all of a sudden they're like, oh, okay, well here's these people. And there's and I just want to show, I mean, I've really gone down the rabbit hole. I'm just going to put this up there. There's this like the invention of the white race. And then this one, which is the invention of capitalism. And then this one is the possessive of how white people profit in investment in whiteness. How they, and the history of white people. I think that, the creation of the of whiteness is where we went wrong and where we are continuing to go wrong. And just like the Ukrainians who are like, oh, but those guys are, they are not the Jewish people of us, right? They're not us. And it's just us and them. That's what white people ethno state is, like us and them. And I want to say too, like it's also reaching Northern Ireland. I don't have you noticed that? Have you heard about what's happening up there? I mean, they went in Northern Ireland door to door, beating up immigrants. and Northern Ireland is full of British people. And so I want to say that like there is a concerted effort to create a race war in the United States right now and in Britain, in British, and in Northern Ireland for sure, and in England too. The way that they have criminalized speech in England is scary. In London, I mean, that's scary. Those people are getting arrested for saying the word, Palestine action. Like that's, these we're in some scary times. Those guys are way more, I think, ahead with the speech stuff. And it's interesting because their media must be a lot more controlled than ours, because I feel like if they were arresting and if people were well, I don't know, maybe they're not talking about it. If people were on hunger, well, I guess they are talking about the hunger strikes. I mean, they are hunger striking in the ice places, but I don't think the mainstream media is talking about that. Have you ever seen it on any kind of mainstream media part? I don't think so. Yeah, none of that ice stuff is on there. And I don't know. I think that also the New York Times came. I want to go back to the Epstein stuff, because I think that's where we have some push and some pull. And the New York Times talks about that they were in the Situation Room trying to deal with what they're going to do. And guess what? It's 9 months later. And just now the New York Times is reporting about it. Everyone knows it, like everyone knows that President Trump is a pervert. Apparently he was perping on someone in the White House, and everyone knows it, and they're just like continuing as is, like he's got credibility. The media is so complicit. Like the media in America is never gonna recover at all. Don't you think?
I don't think so. Like there's so many people, like people don't watch it. Like me, I used to say I watch morning news for the weather. Well, they can't even get the weather right anymore. So it's like, what's the point of watching watching weather? Because they tell me, so here I am dressing for weather, right? Oh, it's going to be 90 degrees, and it's like, I'm cold because I'm dressed for 90-degree weather, and then it's like it's going to be 50 degrees out, and then it's 90 degrees. So it's like, man, this weather stuff is not panning out.
Because he defunded the weather service, right? I mean, that's what's going on. Is like because the weather's the satellites, all that stuff, all the stuff, the connections, the weather reports, all that was defunded. So there's like 5 people running the whole National Weather Service, I'm sure.
I
And
know.
it's
So we're back to going out on the porch, looking to the clouds and saying, all right, this is what it's gonna be.
or
Doing this,
checking Facebook,
the
checking
wind is
Facebook.
blowing.
No, you'll be checking Facebook in towns east of you.
Yeah.
Oh, they're having a thing. It's coming this way. No, they're reporting hail in on Facebook in La Plante. It's coming our way. No, that's what's going to happen. And that's what it actually is happening, because the weather service has been defunded, and Trump has, this administration and this, I would say, and I've been saying it for a while now, but I think that we have been couped. I think the Russia and Israel have taken over the federal government. They're destroying it from the inside, and Trump, has taken away all the safety net of America. He's made the poor poorer. He's made taken away health care, and he is, literally, bedazzled the White House. And everyone's all like, oh, great, he's so great. Let's talk about the ballroom. Like, no, let's not talk about the ballroom. Let's talk about the fact he's just targeting people in Venezuela, that he's targeting. They're just they're just targeting people.
Okay, so I don't know if that's you, Chaz, or if it's me.
I think it's everyone else probably. Matt here.
Are you there?
Yeah, I honest, we have great running here. Can you hear me
Yeah.
now? Should I leave and
I
come
don't know
back?
what's going on with this whole thing.
Should I?
Is it the weather? Have
Or
we
who
been,
knows?
have we been bamboozled?
Yeah.
I was like to try to
So
find Malcolm X words.
the other thing I was going to mention uh, was that I hope you got your garden in there because that AMOC the weather patterns over Europe, which is like just really impacting us and giving us this super El Nino. But like because of what we've been doing to the environment, those ocean currents are changing. And that is going to be devastating. And we know no one is talking about it besides scientists and everyone in Europe. And I think those guys are really freaked out about it, as they should be. As they should be, right?
Should I
I mean,
tell you
that's going to
something?
be affecting
I
what?
went down the rabbit hole
Okay,
yesterday.
what?
Flat Earth.
Oh yeah. Well, I actually kind of believe that there is some stuff that they haven't been telling us. And they know and they could we could all just be here just to entertain creator, which is what we are supposed to be here for, right? And I think that there's a lot they don't tell us. And um who knows? I did you see that picture we talked, I don't know if we talked last time about the aliens, but that there was a picture that they put out with Trump and three really tall Nordic looking people. Like that's how, like, I saw it. Someone on TikTok um was like, is this for real?
AI?
And it
Is
was
it
like
AI?
and that's what, who knows, because she was asking. I didn't read I didn't have time to read the comments, but like, they're talking about disclosure. There's obviously stuff that they haven't told us. And we have in our history that stories about sky people. And so there's obviously some stuff that people know. And someone says since 1932 or something. And also, like, there's all kinds of activity around the nuclear plants. There's always nuclear. Whenever we try to do nuclear stuff, they're always putting us yeah, they're always putting a kibosh to it. Except for what happened when we dropped them two nuclear bombs. Why did they let that happen? I don't know. Maybe they thought we'd wake
Could
up.
it be true because they're nuking the heck out of the Palestinians? They're radiating
But that's
them. They
right,
just
these
haven't
little
done
tiny. Yeah,
what.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know. There's
But
so much.
anyways,
There's
according
there's
to
so
the
much.
flat Earth, there's mammoths in Antarctica.
Oh, huh.
Woolly, woolly mammoths or woolly mammoths. There we go. Woolly mammoths in Antarctica.
Hmm.
Yep. So, but
Well,
you have to get past the big giant icebergs, and then you get over that, and then you're gonna see something totally different. And
mhm.
supposedly there's a land bigger than North America over there, and it's green and lush, and it's doing all kinds of things, and that's where all the billionaire people are, or whatever, living the good
Oh,
life.
interesting.
Yeah,
Well, interesting. Well, that would make sense. But
yeah.
the thing about it is that they're getting in their bunkers, and I mean, they have bunkers. They're prepared for something. Is it a shift? I've heard several different things. One of them I mean, the shift of something that happens every 12,600 years or something like the pole, the magnetic, all that stuff. There's definitely something happening. If it's the aliens, it's whatever. Because the powers that be letting Trump just do what he's doing, and then they're obviously trying to create civil war. I mean, with there's, and I want to mention too, now, can you hear me?
Yeah, a little bit. You kind of went out a little bit, or I might have went out. I don't know.
No,
I
no,
don't know
one
if
of us
it's
did. I don't know, but I was talking about the lynchings in the southeast.
Steve. Steve keeps saying in the chat, he hears us. He hears us both. We just can't hear each other.
I guess, but it's it's like they're really trying to push us to violence, and the crime rate keeps going down. Like the crime rate keeps going down. I don't know if you saw that, but in New York, like the amount of homicides just keeps going down. People don't want to be in prison. People don't want to be doing what they're making us do. I mean, being slaves in prison, and it's such so obvious now. And we've always been kind of a prison country, right? I mean, so was Australia.
They,
Like,
as Indigenous people, ever since the founding of this country, we've been living in a state of prison life.
and I think a prison of, it's a thought too, the propaganda behind whiteness, right? The propaganda behind whiteness, the belief system that enables and even thinks that some people are more better than other people, which is, a delusion, right? Because it's a mental defect, racism and those things are mental defects. If you're racist, if you're sexist, if you're abusive, if you're, all these things, those are mental defects. And that doesn't mean you can't fix those things by educating yourself and becoming a better person or doing whatever. But, people don't, those aren't like normal ways of being. When you're a healthy person and you love yourself and you love you're in a loving situation, you're not hating on other people just because they're brown or black, or they're listening to music that you don't like. I mean, people get get nutty, and and really control it. The good thing about the internet, I mean, I love it, is that it really shows how so some of these white people think every single bit of America is white space, right? Everything is, if you're not doing this. I've told this story, I don't know where, several times, but when I was at Standing Rock once, I told the non-Indian woman that I was walking with, I said, just watch. And I said, all these white people are gonna tell us what to do. Because they thought I was, I'm sure, I'm kind of passing, whatever. But anyway, I walked up there, honest to God, three of those hippie ladies that were like hanging around, whatever, oh, you can't go up there. Oh, you can't do this. Oh, you can't do that. And I was like, even in at Ocheti Shikoi is white space, is what they think. And telling people what to do, how to be, and what to think is like, it's whiteness. White people is the biggest propaganda thing in the world. It's like, it's such a um I don't know, it's one of those things that's just such easily proven wrong. If you think that they're the master race, you can always go through all this other stuff. And you know, you're not, you didn't really invent everything, just sort of stole everything. I mean, invent something, tell me something white people invented that, their servant didn't, and then they took credit, or their wife did, and that they took credit for. Tell me something, but they haven't really contributed anything. And it's been just a cancer on humanity since white people became a thing. And so we should just let it go. You can be German, you can be Finnish, you can be whatever the heck you want to be, but don't be racist, right? Don't be Zionist. Don't be like, there's no room for that anymore. And in this world, I think we're moving beyond it. It's a sad thing, but I think it's gonna work out because Palestine is gonna be free in our lifetime, right? And but what a horrible sacrifice and a way for it to happen, for us all to have to watch. And
Well, I think that Iran is going to free them. That's what I
I
think.
hope so.
Iran is going to, or Iran is going to free them. And I think that is just it's painful to watch and it's agonizing, the suffering, but it's kind of like we have to look at all of what they have done. So again, it's taking the Muslim people, Arab people, Islamic people, they are the one, like they never entered into the dark ages. So when Europe went into medieval Europe, the dark ages and all, they didn't do that. And so when they come out in the Renaissance, it's because they interacted with the Arab people, and the Arab people showed them and taught them how to do things. And so then they come out of the dark ages. And so, but they get to do this whole thing of stealing ideas. So it gets in our history books, Western civilization. They do not talk about the East. They do not talk about Asia. They do not talk about any of those things, only in the sense of Western advancement. And so Western advancement in that time, is talking about Genghis Khan and his movement through the Mongols and moving through history in that fashion. And then you have the Chinese Wall, the Great Wall of China. And like you get this story, but not about China in itself, but just the impact of where the colonization. So you don't know, or we didn't get taught the great things about China. And how do we learn even about the Aztecs and the Mayans? How do we even know some of these things? Well, China has it in their archives because they sailed and landed, and then they have in their archives and their recorded history some knowledge about what they have experienced over in with the Mayan and the Aztec people. And so there's like all of this stuff that doesn't get told to us. It's not in our textbooks. It has to be heavily reliant on an academic who is not afraid to talk about those topics. And so
That's right.
so China, all of those things become about Russia, right? So the Christian Orthodox Church and how that goes to Russia. And so then the Western expansion goes into this thoughts about what Russia is. And so even in Russia, they're not talking about the indigenous people of Russia. They're just talking about like when they became the USSR and Poland and Czechoslovakia, and the more of the Western or the European people, and it's not about the actual people. And so there's this big distortion that occurs in academia and in our history books. So we don't know the truth. They can come and steal ideas. They can do all of these different things, and it's okay. It's okay because they're the ones that thought about it. They're the ones that did all of this stuff. And So then it also, if you recall back, I think when Obama was president and coming forward, all of a sudden you have these Zionist people going into Egypt, into these real ancient sites and destroying their sculptures, destroying their history. And so there's like a real purpose, there's real intent into destroying the truth. And so it fits a narrative. And so now we're going to be flat earthers, and we're going to be knowing that the billionaires are denying us this woolly mammoth life that we could be on the other side of Antarctica wall. Sorry, I kind of went long there.
The no, no. I think also that they've done a good job of erasing. Nothing is indigenous. Black people are not indigenous. Yes, they are. They were indigenous there. If they are here in the United States, they most definitely are indigenous, from Africa. I mean, I think that there is an effort by I think psyops really is that behind that, we claim America for Africa, that movement in America. I do think that that is being done by the federal government just to create disunion within the Indian community and the Black community, because there's no, there is some actual uh, um, true I read about, that we don't know like who is what we need to make. And so that's why, I think we really have to be choosing who we're listening to.
You're breaking up, lady.
Yeah. Okay. Well, just you were there, and then can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, well, who are we being guided by? It's the same thing. It's like since the very beginning. Who do you trust? What do you got to do? And I think at times like these, you just got to really, double down on creating a safe place for you and your family. Put your garden in, and continue to, make sure you know who your neighbors are. I do believe that they're trying to create race wars, like instigating racial violence coming from just community members and all that stuff. I do believe that that's kind of the end goal here. That's what they're going to try to do, and they're going to want us to do that. And so I just want to say that I don't believe in violence at all, but it could come at us, and so folks need to be prepared. And if there becomes food shortages, definitely folks are going to be looking toward the reservations for what they think is all the free food we got here. Are we going to be able to protect that? Are we going to be able to keep our people into the next generation? We got to be thinking about those things, because the United States is really at a tipping point right now. I feel like people are going to continue to not be able to afford gas, and we're just going to continue to be pushed up to a boiling point that's going to be irrevocable. Is that word? Irrevocable? I don't know. You know what I mean? We're going to go over that. We're going to go over that cliff, and then what?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I don't know.
I,
We just got
I
to make
think
sure
so
you take
too.
care of.
Yeah,
And
I
and
just said
and
I think
probably
so too.
maybe it should, Maggie, right? If everything is based on, yeah, it, and maybe everything should, if it's based on go away, and you know the it's got to go away, the amount of damage. Well, I appreciate folks like you who are like teaching and teaching, because we gotta teach, and we gotta continue to say, you know, what is our truth and what is their truth, because we're not them.
And then even in that whole sense of like flat earth, so back to that. I think
Yeah.
about flat earth and like what they're saying, they go to the Bible and the Bible says this, and then I'll say that as Lakota people, we know that Ea is the one that created. And in the beginning there was Ea and there was darkness. So there was two things that existed in the beginning, and Ea was lonely. And so because of loneliness, Ea created. So he would have he, she, because there was no gender, anything. So Ea would create. And so from that creation was Unchi Maka. And so Unchi Maka then was created. And then because of her and the creation that for her to survive, then Ea sacrifices everything by becoming all of these different things, right? So um in our story, Unchi Maka was created first, and then the sun, and then the moon, and then all of these other things were created to help her survive. And so in the flat earth theory, and they're tying it to the creation in from the Bible, saying that Bible says these, and so that's what they're, and then the firmament is what they keep talking about in regards to. So it's like this, more like this, and we have like a protective dome. And then they say like the sun is going like this or whatever, going different ways around Earth, and the moon as well. And so we would say maybe that's correct.
Who knows? You know, I
They then,
think that I don't trust them. I don't trust
well,
what they say, so who knows
I know.
what it could
So
be.
Chaz,
You
you
know what I
have to go to
mean?
space. We have to send you out into
Hey, no
space,
way.
and then you have to tell us what is the truth. Are we round or are we flat? Is the sun going around us or are we going around the sun? Is the moon going around us? Or are we going around the moon? I know the moon goes around us, but you're going to have to be the one to witness and have evidence and come back and say, the truth is this.
Yeah. And who knows? Yeah, who knows? I don't think there is, you know, who knows? Multiple truth, and
There's
maybe it's
such a
all, you know,
disruption with Yeah, there's such a disruption with science, like to make us disbelieve it. And then even like if just what I said about the whole thing of history, like the discrediting of cultures and people through history. So then if you know that happened, then you're sitting here and looking at the science stuff saying, what is the truth? Can
that's
I believe
right. I
you?
mean, that's right. They can't manipulate us all into and continue to think that we're not paying attention. You know, that's the thing, is that we're at such a point right now where we have such amazing knowledge that's just like mind blowing, and and we're just forced to continue as is. Um, but I think it's because it's the last of it all, you know. It's like the last gasp. And I think Arunatte Roy says something, you know, something about how a new world is coming because she can hear it breathing. And I think that that's like what you know, Unchi Maka is breathing us into a new, a better version of ourselves, because the earth has had enough of this mentality of rape culture, of, you know, and rape culture is capitalism and white supremacy. that's together, they are that combined evil that has just taken a hold of us and had not let us go. So I have to stop at before the hour because I have another commitment today. So we'll have to continue this conversation next week and hopefully with better internet. Who knows what's going on with this? Oh, you're on mute, I think.
Who puts me on mute? Who keeps
I
me?
don't know. It's your show. Like I'm definitely not doing that. I'm not. Yeah, no, that's okay.
Yeah.
I know.
And then at some time, Julie Tweagle wants to join in. She wants to have a conversation about MMIW. Um, we just recently over here in our community, um, at Denby Dam, which is over going towards Batesland on our reservation, a young lady was found deceased there. And then they had to identify her based off of her tattoos. And I think she has been identified. And then, but anyway, so she wanted to come and have a conversation. And so I told her, let us know when, and then we can do a whole MMIW conversation about what's happening to our people, and then how justice is served or isn't served, or the purposes behind it. And so so that may be coming within the next couple weeks or something, but she would like to have that conversation. And I said, yeah, we sure will bring you up and we can have the conversation and talk about those things, because they're things that are affecting not only my reservation, but they're affecting your reservation up there in Eagle Butte. And so it's something that sometimes it's our own people, and the sadness of it.
Yeah, no, I know a guy who's one of our missing and murdered, and I know a guy like that. So like, geez, okay, yeah, definitely. I'm sorry that we've had such bad internet today, but hopefully maybe next week they'll not be paying attention.
Yeah, we'll have to go under the radar of the Zionist control of all of media.
They do, man. That's no joke. We're not kidding. So thank you.
Well, that was Chas. She signs off in her best way. But again, so Julie Tweagle will join us sometime in the near future. We'll have a conversation about MMIW. And then I also just as things are going forward, looking at things that we bring forward in conversation. Looking forward to that. And there's some exciting news coming for Toksa Hour, but it's like that whole thing about jinxing things. So we're kind of a little bit quiet about it right now. So working on some details and that, and moving forward. With that, I got to go finish my garden. I got to go water my flowers and feed my chickens and get all of that stuff done. I hope all of you guys are doing something in some way in regards to your own food sovereignty and taking care of your business, so that when things hit, it's not as bad for you, that you'll have some food to kind of eat to get through. It's looking like Iran and the United States may not be in a true ceasefire deal. We don't know. Both sides are saying something different. And Israel does not agree. So Saint Yahu, what is his name? Netanyahu. Sorry, people. But anyways, that guy doesn't agree. And he says he is not going to comply. So we're going to see what happens. So save your pennies for your gas and make sure that you're planting something so that you can eat and preserve your food. So talk to you later, you guys.